to ban out the Nocturne as well. Interestingly, H2K not going for the standard Taliyah, Aatrox bans, instead focusing a bit of comfort here. So there's going to be a lot of powerful picks left open.
Now, H2K, remember that they don't really have anything left to lose, and we have noticed recently that they leave a lot of the OPs open, which is kind of forcing Vitality to ban them away. H2K now banning away the Akali themselves, the first ban that we've seen of the champion here in the European LCS. I'm really sad that I don't get to cast her, but regardless, we'll see how the day progresses. Vitality immediately going for a big comfort pick. Now, we kind of expect this to actually be in the mid lane, not in the jungle, based on what not only Upset said yesterday in PGL, where he's played a couple times with Kikis and solo queue, and this guy didn't feel super confident on the champion, but also it is a big comfort pick for Jiizuke, as he demonstrated a lot last split.
Yeah, it looked incredibly solid. Wasn't able to shut down the Akali in lane, but was able to roam so much to help Vitality find early kills back and forth up against their match against Schalke, rather. Now H2K going for the Tahm Kench first, may pick up the Ryze here as well. Really liking that Ryze in the bottom lane. They seem to feel like it gives them a pretty safe draft across the board, but we'll see. Maybe it goes to the mid lane for Selfie. We'll find out shortly.
I think that if you assume that the Taliyah is being played in mid, you can look to pick the Ryze yourself and just take it into the matchup with the reduced wave clear that Taliyah does have. Ever since the mini rework that she had to her Q, Ryze is a much more comfortable matchup into her. So we'll see if Selfie looks to pick that one up, as we actually see a Galio being drafted for Jiizuke. This is something that was banned away from him yesterday, but it feels like he's going to get his hands back on it, and we will get to see that jungle Taliyah from Kikis.
And you're right, so many of those comfort picks banned away. It does mean that Jiizuke gets his hands on it. Could, in theory, maybe still be a bottom lane Taliyah. Haven't seen that one since patch, what, 8.13?
Very true.
I feel like in LCK, however. Very likely the Kikis is going to show his hands on it. Prove Upset wrong from what we heard yesterday. Now H2K debating on their final pick of the first phase. Lots of junglers left open and available. Taliyah, of course, the priority pick. Looks like Jactroll is going to opt to take the Sejuani into it. Good initiation. Pretty solid champion all around. Not necessarily the flashiest, but definitely rock solid in the jungle.
Certainly is. Usually becomes one of the highest tiered junglers. We've seen a shift back towards kind of tanky junglers, with the only exception being things like the Taliyah and the Nocturne. With Kindred nerfed recently as well, it kind of limits that carry pool. So Sejuani, Gragas kind of Ryze until us, especially with Trundle taken off the board as well. So Jactroll going to be happy with that. H2K so far drafting themselves a pretty solid mid to late game comp. Decent elements of team fighting, but also an ability to play on those side lanes. And with the Ryze already locked in, you're kind of looking at Smittyj to try and get that counter pick in the top lane. Something like the Gnar, maybe even the Cannon is something that he could look to go towards so that H2K can play this 1-3-1 style.
Want to see what he does opt for. Smittyj, as you said, tons of resources put into him. It paid off yesterday for the H2K lineup. Will they try the same thing again? For now, though, top lane bans on both sides. The Camille taken off the board, Darius to follow. I like that they're taking away some of these champions on the side of H2K that combo well with Galio, because when we saw Vitality win last week, you remember Cabochard on the Jarvan paired with Jiizuke's Galio was terrifying to play against. They finally got that wombo combo off and immediately ended a game.
Yes, they certainly did, and it could still be a potential option here. They already have decent damage on the side of Vitality, with Gragas being banned away, H2K trying to limit the junglers left available, which is kind of surprising. Perhaps they're considering Gragas to be played up top lane as well. It is something that Cabo has played twice so far this split. And now they're looking at their... Oh, we still got one ban left, my apologies. Vitality, they're going to look to continue banning away those top laners, or instead, will they look to try and narrow out something else? Like AD carries, all of them are still left available. Both supports have been locked in. Mid lane is going to be taken off the board. And the fact that it's a Yasuo ban implies to me that Ryze is the champion that Vitality is expecting to go into the bot lane, and a mid laner has not yet been picked for H2K.
Yeah, not looking to give Yasuo any kind of comfortable laning phase, anything in a melee to melee matchup.
So if this Gnar gets locked in, I feel like we're going to see a Cannon or a Jace. I feel like that's just kind of the decision-making that Cabo would go towards.
He has been feeling himself recently. He's been loving those kind of solo carry style. He has not been a man to be pulled back onto tank duty in the name of team success. Much more about the individual. They've been giving him a decent amount of attention as well, so it's looked good. But the Gnar for Smittyj was a solid pick yesterday. Just generally looks like he is improving week to week when he's getting more of that attention. And Vitality, they like the wombo comps.
Yep.
And the Alistar, Galio, Jarvan, we've seen it. I gotta say, I like it from him. But going up against an Gnar, it feels like it could be a little difficult.
I think the laning phase can be difficult, but when you're in mini Gnar, you have a lot of kill threat on the Jarvan. The dive potential is also very strong, so I'm not completely opposed to it. I think it's fine for the time being. If you end up in a side lane, though, and Gnar does choose to build for 1v1ing, then the Jarvan is going to struggle quite a lot.
Ooh.
So They're certainly going for wombo combo. They're really going wombo combo.
I feel like they're looking me in the face and saying, Drakos, we want you to just be able to scream a single word during any given team fight, and that will be murder. That will be the word I scream when all five of them push their ults.
I was just like, Vitality's just angry after losing yesterday, and they're just like, we must kill everything.
We gotta go back to the basics. Does everyone have their R buttons? Yes? Okay, time to fight.
Raise your hand if your ultimate's available. Hey!
Oh, Draven now locked in for Sheriff. This I love. We heard from Freeze last season how good Sheriff is at this champion, how, like, check 80 carries, it just seems to be a thing, are god-tier Draven players. I want to see what Sheriff can do on it. I want to see if he's going to live up to the hype here.
So, while it is exciting, it has been paired up with a Tahm Kench, which kills the hype a little bit, but I think the Tahm Kench is really valuable against the wombo combo of Vitality because of the peel that he can provide for Draven, who doesn't have those dashes or escape tools. He has a couple of disengage abilities that can help stop people from chasing him, but he doesn't have those dashes to really run away from a Jarvan ultimate, the Galio ultimate, and the Alistar wombo combo. So once his flash is down, that Tahm Kench is going to offer a lot of peel. But when you kind of look at this draft from H2K, it is that 1-3-1 we were talking about, something that they did find some decent success with in the early game yesterday, largely playing through the top side of the map. Whereas for Vitality, we already talked about it, it's all about the team fighting. Basically, group up, press R. It's a strategy that they have found success with so far during the regular season. So many analysts have said Vitality love to just group up mid and fight, and what better way to do that than with this kind of a comp?
There is no better way. Vedius is the TLDR. This is the exact kind of comp you want to see when teams want to group up that shotgun. One shot, 5 kills, or at least that's what Vitality are hoping for. On the opposite side, H2K, you said it's telegraph. Playing through top lane, that's what they want to do. Well, we know Vitality want to get to that team fight phase. They want to get to the point where all those ultimates are available. But what needs to happen in the early game for them to get there? What lane do they play through? What is their strategy?
Well, I feel like H2K are going to have to look to play through top side of the map. It's going to be difficult to try and gank the Alistar lane down bot if you are H2K, mainly because you have a Tahm Kench's setup, but you kind of want to utilize the wave clear that a Ryze gets once he especially completes his tier and look to try and get Smittyj ahead in the top side of the map. But it's going to be challenging because the thing about these team fight comps is in the mid game they're really strong and it's so easy for them to force a lot of fights, and H2K are just going to have to find a way to stop these fights from happening and rather just not get baited into them because they could find themselves in some very dangerous situations.
Absolutely could. Vitality looking to force some of those dangerous situations early, pushing in for a little bit of vision, wanting to keep track of this Sejuani. Not wanting to let her give her free roam over the top side of the map, trying to shut down some of that potential early aggressive pathing that could shut down the J4. Now the rest of the team spotted out on wards. Good response on both sides for this level 1 vision. Teams trading wards back and forth. No one with too big of an advantage, but how they use the vision will always be the question.
So where's Kikis looking to start off? Remember that this guy, since joining the EU LCS, has done a lot of counter jungling. He loves to get into the face of the enemy jungler. He likes to build leads for himself, and already they're off to an early game invade. Jactroll has grouped up with Kikis. He doesn't have the teleport, but he's okay with that because he's still playing towards the bot side of the map. Selfie reads the play, and he wants to try and stop this invade.
Trying to back off, maybe looking to contest here. Sheriff and Promisq looking for a little bit of vision, but they just do not have enough members on the bottom side. Ryze needs to go back to the mid lane to make sure he gets that farm, so they will take away the blue buff. And interestingly enough, this will set them up to divide the map, top and bottom side, unless Kikis wants to get aggressive and maybe contest Jactroll, as he could push in on for the top side blue buff. So solid early pathing, but sets up Cabo to be isolated here on the top side.
Yeah, that's the thing that concerns me a little bit. Now, Kikis taking an interesting path, just looking to run straight through mid.
Threaded volley, only going to connect on one, not going to land the unraveled earth either, rather the seismic shove. And this is something we've seen from Kikis a lot, these early paths where he just goes straight for the level 2, looks for the gank immediately afterwards. And Jiizuke, unfortunately, may have the lane pressure, but is not coming out on top in the trade. Already burning 2 stacks of the Corrupting Potion, just 30 seconds into the lane phase.
And already at Draven level 2.
That's not what you want to see. And Sheriff doesn't even have to be scared. He says, ooh, I'm sorry, Alistar, do you have Headbutt and Pulverize, sir? Oh, no? Well, then I'm just going to smack your 80 carry and you're just going to have to deal with it.
Yep, Attila being forced to use the health pot. Interestingly, he's going for the Doran's Blade start. Often we'll see in losing matchups, many 80 carries run the Doran Shield, especially against champions like the Draven, but he feels pretty confident. We'll see how that works out for him throughout the rest of the laning phase. But a lot of interesting things have been happening in this early game. Wanted to quickly touch on the fact that Kikis, or an early ward was set up around the Raptor camp on the top side of H2K's jungle, which allowed Kikis to see where Jactroll was in the jungle, meaning that Kikis could quickly walk through the mid lane, know that he could secure his blue buff, and he doesn't have to trade sides of the map because he gets himself likely all 3 buffs, and Jactroll just doing his best to get what farm he can. He will steal away the Raptors, so in terms of experience, he's still doing decently, but the fact that Kikis is going to get all 3 buffs is definitely a big advantage for him.
Slightly less now that he had to chase that Raptor back and forth, but still a nice edge to have and very odd jungle pathing, I think it's safe to say. Kikis playing very proactively to make sure that his jungle is safe. Jactroll, though, as you said, doing his best to respond, doing his best to get back what he can, and it looks like neither jungler going to be playing quite as early as we expected around any individual laner. Instead, kind of just focused on themselves, getting that jungle CS locked down.
Yeah, we've got to keep our eyes on the top lane matchup as well, because Jarvan into Gnar, typically melee into ranged can always be a challenge for the melee, but the thing about Jarvan is the shield is surprisingly tough, and you can farm from a safe distance using both your E and your Q, and the mana costs aren't that high either. And in that mini Gnar form, you can even look for a couple of trades, and you'll note that Cabochard is running the Airy, which means that he can throw a little bit of poke out, but it also synergizes nicely with his W to enhance that shield even further. So it's going to be a decently safe lane for Cabo, and he's just going to wait for a bit of jungle attention before he looks to really go aggressive.
We'll find out if that is going to be the case. Attention now being paid to the bottom side from Vitality. May just look for the early play to shut down the Draven is crucial. Deny those stacks of Adoration. Do not let him get that ego going. Sheriff now trying to back out. Beautiful cancel there, but the flash is still coming through the chain. CC immediately following up. Promisq all but set to fall. Can he save the Draven? Sheriff running for his life, trying to hit it onto Attila, but it's a blind man's game. Getting taken out immediately. Beautiful play there for Vitality.
Very clean dive. They don't even need the Galio ulti to make it happen, and if Vitality just got a couple flashes out of that, they would have been happy, but instead, they get both summoners and 2 kills. That's exactly what you want to be doing against a Draven lane. They set it up very cleanly, and just look at the map right now. That ward that Selfie put down in the river doesn't spot anything thanks to the control ward that Selfie put down. That means that the bottom side of the map is completely invisible. Vitality had pushed a huge wave underneath that tower. Jactroll manages the aggro of the tower beautifully, and it allows Vitality to very easily land all of their abilities and secure a couple of early kills.
And fantastic early dive from Vitality, as you mentioned. I do have to point out, Attila, we don't often see Misfortune. We don't often see Dark Harvest either, but there's the Dark Harvest. He's going to be happy to grab up a couple extra stacks off of that first play, and definitely going to be more and more frustrating to deal with the double ups as more and more stacks come through, because already at 32, 150 of course is the big mark where the duration is extended, 20 seconds to proc each stack before you get it, but if you played against a Misfortune, you know how much poke damage she can do. Usually it's with a Conqueror or something else, but with Dark Harvest, just more upfront, immediate burst. And if you're Sheriff, you have to be pretty scared.
Yeah, it synergizes really nicely with the double up because of all the bonus stats you get, and it's pretty easy to build those stacks as time goes on. So looking forward to seeing how that works out for Attila. You already talked about him being on 32. I believe it's that big 150 mark that you're looking for, where you then start to get a couple of big increases. So we'll keep an eye on that as the game progresses. So far, Vitality sitting on a healthy early game lead, 1,000 in their favor. Not the way in which H2K would have liked to start. If you are playing 1-3-1, ideally you want to be the ones ahead in the early game, because if you want to split push, you want to be able to draw attention towards you. And you can only do that if you're ahead, as Selfie drops rather low.
Jiizuke. Oh. Nice shield comes through. If Selfie hit backstep there, he would have died instantly. So his, I guess you could call it hubris, pays off for him as he does manage to live. But here comes Kikis, looking for the cheeky kill. Now, yesterday we saw H2K play a pretty good game, Vedius, and a lot of that was through them being very proactive early game and very proactive through Smittyj. These man's stats, mediocre most of the split. Yesterday, looking like a champ. Look at the forward percentage, the kill participation, the CSD, the goal difference. This guy was on fire yesterday, and it seems like they're struggling to replicate some of that success.
It was against Alfari as well, often considered a very strong top laner in Europe, but H2K just said, listen, he's playing the Gangplank, it's a lane we can look to shut down, and they did so very effectively. But Vitality found an easy lane that they want to shut down, and it's here in the bottom. Once again showing up, no pressure from the Ryze in mid. That tower's likely going to drop, and these early game stats that you see from H2K definitely demonstrating an opposite of what we're seeing today.
Absolutely. Vitality not going to let them get away with the same aggressive early game, playing very proactively, putting this Taliyah to good use. We want to know, hey, can Kikis play it? He's doing all right. 0-0-2, moving around the map, matching jungle farm, already with 100% kill participation at this stage of the game, so it's a good look right now. And you can see level 6 Attila, terrifying point that we talked about, but H2K maybe looking to get a play back on the top side. Ulti does manage to connect, taking a little bit of time here. Jactroll, is he going to be able to get anything else to flash out? Now immediately, ooh, the ult comes through, does get it in the end. Bit of a sloppy play there. H2K walk away with it in the end, forcing out the Galio ulti as well, and that's a good exchange.
Now, we did talk about this is the kind of play that we wanted to see from H2K, Selfie pressuring in mid and then using his ulti to roam up top. But now seeing another gank down bot.
That's the Gandalf treatment. You shall not pass. Taken out, popped up. Well played by Kikis to secure that one, but H2K just feeling a little bit too confident on the bottom side.
Murdered, as one might say. Now let's have a look back at the top lane, where the dive actually kind of looks pretty promising from Cabochard. He combos the EQ into the ulti to try and keep Jactroll and Smittyj locked down for as long as possible. He's able to burn 2 flashes from the H2K duo, so that's not a bad trade-off, but still ends up losing his life. And if the bottom lane wasn't 0-3, then that would have been a great start for H2K, but unfortunately they couldn't do much about the fact that Jiizuke and Kikis have constantly been roaming down towards the bot side, and they've now just secured themselves the first tower. Fortunately for them, Rift Herald is spawning within the next minute, and with the Drake already taken by them, they can just swap towards the top side and work towards that next objective.
Yeah, 3K gold lead right now, and you have a lot of champions who are happy to snowball in this game. Taliyah, especially good at snowballing, but also the misfortune. Solo Q-Terror, once again, this is something we've all experienced, and you can see the individual gold advantage. Normally you expect Draven, he's going to get a kill under his belt, he's going to catch up. Well, probably not this game. 1,300 gold, a massive part of the lead for Vitality right now in the hands of Attila, and when you're building that lethality, Vedius, you're just kind of ready to one-shot the opposition.
It's called lethality for a reason, Drakos, and if the enemy team has no armor, it can penetrate deep. It is so painful to deal with if you're not building things like the armor boots. I forget the name of them. Help me out here, my friend.
Ninja Tabby?
Ninja Tabby? See, it's not intuitive.
It's not at all
Why would a ninja build armor?
One of the worst named items in the game. They don't look like Ninja Tabby. They just look like boots, and why would ninjas build armor?
Yeah, so anyway, you want to build those against a heavy lethality misfortune, and it's also valuable to get against the Jarvan as well. But then what do you do against the Taliyah that also deals a lot of damage? So it's a tough situation for H2K as they find themselves in a 3,000 gold deficit. Vitality now making their way towards the Rift Herald as well, and using this, they can look to break down the mid tower. So everything going in favor of H2K in this early game.
Vitality.
That's the badge.
Nothing sadly going in the favor of H2K.
I just looked at H2K
they have
and
the
I was
one kill.
like,
They've got the dive. Smittyj now may be in trouble, but is just going to leap out to safety. They do get a tower back on the bottom side. It does mean giving up the Rift Herald, as you mentioned. So while it does help them catch up for now, once the Rift Herald is used, if it grabs a tower, gold will still continue to grow in the favor of Vitality. Selfie continuously roaming, trying to make use of that pressure in the mid lane to find an advantage, but Vitality aren't falling for it, not sending individual members down to be picked off.
So now Vitality in full control of the map. You can see a lot of their vision invested towards the top side, largely because they were just playing around that Rift Herald. H2K don't really have much vision of their own spread out really anywhere on the map. There were a couple wards down towards the bot lane, I believe, but outside of that, nothing really in favor of H2K, so they're forced to just kind of face check a lot of these brushes. Now Cabo has just found Jactroll.
Man, it's hungry. Immediate Cataclysm. Jactroll tries to use the ulti to get out of that situation, but Jiizuke is just walking his way in. They've seen the Arctic Assault. Jactroll running for his life, dodging everything he can, but it's just not enough. Now Tahm, Kench, and the Draven trying to make their own play. Promisq, ooh, immediate flash. The TP coming in as well. Vitality burning all the resources they need to make sure Attila does not go down.
Look at the Alistar coming in from the flank as well. They want to try and lock Sheriff and Promisq. No flash on the Tahm Kench.
Get ready for the Jactroll engage. Sheriff, beautiful use there for the flash. Immediately, Jiizuke, is he going to follow up as well? Flashing over, but not able to connect the taunt. Sheriff untouched until right now, immediately taken out. That is the damage we've been talking about. Promisq. Let's just walk it off, folks. Stand there and dance. The back animation. It's a little disrespectful, but Vitality going to take what they earned.
Yeah, Vitality not wasting any time, quickly securing a couple more kills. They had to burn a couple of flashes to do it, but Sheriff and Promisq, they tried to make a proactive play. They used that ulti to catch Attila out of position, but hey, teleports, they're a thing, and they enable this Vitality squad to turn that situation around. Now Selfie, he thinks it's his blue buff.
He's going to get the blue. Flashes out, the Galio not going to connect the stun, the cleanse. He's not going to stay in the ultimate, though. Look at all the damage. He's going to walk out. No! Just clipping him with the Winds of War. So many members close to escaping. Sheriff really wants it. He gets the shutdown. Cash out. Blood for the Blood God. Doesn't care where it goes, just as long as it flows. There's going to be a little bit more as Jiizuke set to get taken down. Not going to give it to the Draven. Smittyj wants a piece too.
So now, finally, H2K getting themselves a couple kills on the board. They're able to punish the over-aggression of Vitality, but Vitality still find themselves getting a mid-tier 1 turret. So things still going in favor of Vitality overall. Selfie ended up losing his life, and this is a situation where you think you can do your blue buff, but if you look at the mini-map, it's not your jungle, Selfie. So you can't really go for that by yourself. It's super easy for the rest of Vitality to collapse it. The mistake here is Kikis flashing in. He should have trusted his mid laner. If they just walked away from that, they would have been fine, but that's when Sheriff sees the opportunity, and then we were speaking about teleports earlier. Smittyj had his up and available, and then Promisq and Smittyj were able to turn that one around and secure themselves a couple of quick kills. And I believe the Draven picked up like 900 gold off the back of that.
He's died 3 times, but he did get the shutdown, so maybe not as much as he'd like. And now always going in for this gank on the Cabochard. He's going to flag and drag his way to safety. Promisq running forward, going to give him a lick, flash out to make sure he can't get slowed. Good patience on the flash from Cabo, does manage to walk away. Forcing the flash, though, is a small advantage to the side of H2K. Vedius, every time H2K plays in the last few weeks, I feel like we cannot catch a breath because they're just constantly doing something. They're either getting caught or they're catching somebody. They're forcing plays left and right. It's exciting. It's so chaotic, and it doesn't seem to be going in their favor this time around.
It's also the nature of Vitality games when Kikis is on a jungler that he can actually be proactive with in the early game. They're always looking for fights, and H2K, given their recent proactivity, it results in this kind of back and forth all the time, but Vitality have been the team consistently coming out on top, and Kikis so far has had a much better early game than he was able to do yesterday against Schalke.
And you can see we all saw the struggle there, missing the smite. It was a tough game, but it seems like he's recovered, and Vitality as a whole have recovered. They just continue to relentlessly throw down in the face of H2K. But Kikis stepping up. We were worried. We heard from upset, hey, maybe this is just the honeymoon phase. Maybe it's ending. But doesn't appear to be the case. 2, 1, and 5, 100% kill participation. Here comes the wall, and they're looking to make a play. Sheriff on his lonesome, walking up to the wall. Promisq wants to eat him up. Not going to get knocked back, and is going to take him to safety. Good patience. But here comes Jiizuke with the taunt. Is going to go forward with the Justice Punch. Wants to lock up one. Immediately the follow-up as well. Kikis getting another one and just making it look easy.
Now, Jiizuke took a long time to set that play up, so he was going to take more damage than he would have liked. Does mean that Sheriff can get away with his life thanks to Promisq being that good guy support, giving away his own life for the safety of his AD carry. Will be another kill going in favor of Vitality. No objective secured this time around, though. Just trying to think. Do you remember when the Rift Hour was used? I believe it was thrown down mid lane.
Yes.
And that did help secure that mid tier 1, but that means it's not going to be available to secure any of these tier 2s, and that's when things get a little bit harder. But as you can see, when you kind of evaluate the comps, remember we talked about H2K 1-3-1. If you want to play the 1-3-1, you have to be ahead. Now, the good news is for H2K, Smittyj is 2-0-0. Has the Black Cleaver, will actually do pretty well on the side lane. You would imagine that he would go towards something like the Blade of the Ruined King or the Frozen Mallet up next to help with his one split pushing, but he can't split push in a 4v1.
He can't. He's running. He's going to get knocked up. He's going to get taken down. Attila just knocks him out. Poor little Yordle.
And look at the minimap. What can H2K pressure? Sheriff is trying to push up top lane. Selfie pushes in mid, but outside of securing that one tower, they're not really in a position to secure much else, and that means that Vitality can just stay grouped up in the bottom lane and can look to siege onto this tier 2.
Are they going to go for the aggressive play here? Kikis ready.
They should.
Does not have the wall available. Ryze ulti being used, the Realm Warp just to make sure the Self can get to the wave in time to deny the tower. Jactroll as well, just burning spells. Jactroll seemingly ready to go for the dive, but may have overstayed his welcome. They want to close that one out, and they are going to grab it. Vitality, that confidence counting against them.
All right, so 2 things. Number 1, Jactroll definitely didn't expect the wave to be cleared that quickly. Number 2, why isn't Alistar trying to hit the tower, Drakos?
He's not. He is. Vedius, we both know why he's standing under that tower. That is the I'm going to headbutt pole view if you misstep kind of posturing right there.
I suppose that's true.
That has nothing to do with that man is
no
just
ulti,
feeling himself.
He had no ulti, man. I guess, like,
his team is so far up, he's probably like, I'm feeling it. It doesn't matter. I'm unkillable. Sadly, that's not the case, but the input buffer from Jiizuke, well played. Gets CC'd, still gets to complete the dash.
I feel like because he got CC'd as he was like turning around, he just looked at them smugly as he glided away. I might be frozen, but I am very chill right now.
Jactroll gonna try to glide away. Doesn't look like it's gonna be an option for Sheriff though. He doesn't have a dash, and that means he just dies. Wall comes in. Jactroll Stuck right there. He's just going to flash out a Selfie, or flash out as Selfie's going to try to grab a few minions. Cabo not done. Slows him down with the shield. They're trying to land the CC, but Selfie's just so fast to flash in as well. Oh, boys.
There's a lot of killing right now.
A little sloppy here, but
we talked about murder. There's a lot of it happening in favor of Vitality right now. Jactroll could be in some trouble. Where's his ulti?
Thrown back, gonna get stunned again by Jactroll. Has the thick skin. Is it enough? Attila gonna go for the double up. Is it gonna get him? Yes, the ignite from the Alistar does take him down in the end. 11-4 the kill score. Just beautiful, beautiful.
Does this satisfy your play-by-play needs?
Yes.
It's like, oh, so much action.
I was satisfied in pick ban. I'm even more satisfied in game when H2K, despite not playing what you consider a team fight comp, are fighting constantly. It doesn't really Vedius, I'm not going to lie. And for Vitality, this is the game that's kind of a little bit of a break for them. You know, their schedule gets harder and harder from here.
So let's see where this chaos started off. Ooh. See, I'd like to think that when Cabo jumped on his face, he went feet first, and he just pile-drived Sheriff into the ground as that poor Draven once again lost his life. He has been kind of the victim from the side of Vitality. They've just been bullying him this game. 1-4-1. Does have the Bloodthirster completed and has a decent amount of AD, but he has not been able to build those stacks. He has not been able to really find much success, and it's all because Vitality have constantly sent so many members down to try and shut him down.
And now Attila on 2 items, but I think important we think about the standings implications here. Vitality and H2K scrapping it out. Vitality continuing their climb to the top. A win here does lock them for playoffs, and their schedule just gets harder and harder. Vedius, these guys are the surprise contender for the top of the table. They kind of looked out. They looked down. There was a question as to whether or not they were going to make it to playoffs. Kikis came in. It started to turn around, and there's a real possibility of them making in the top 3 at this point in the season, because their next 2 opponents, Misfits G2, every win against a team that you're competing with is basically 2, because you knock them down 1 and you move yourself up 1.
Yeah, it's really nice to see our top 6 teams being so competitive with one another, and it's interesting when you speak to them all because they all feel like they figured each other out, and they all have distinct playstyles that you can look to abuse. And so far, the only team that kind of stands above the rest is Fnatic, but even they are very close in the standings, and Schalke are hot on their heels, and with things so close, it's still yet to be decided where everyone will end up at the very end going into playoffs. And Vitality, they still have a decent shot. It does get harder after their loss yesterday to Schalke, because now it's not entirely in Vitality's control whether they can secure that top 2, but they are still a big competitor, and securing top 2, maybe even that 3rd place spot will definitely be a big advantage for them.
And now Vedius, we're seeing both compositions group mid. We wanted to see a bit more of a 1-3-1, and we may instead see a team fight. Jactroll, a little bit of a fumble there on the engage. They're not going to find the ball. Jactroll looks like he may just go down, but Cabo trying to find the re-engage there. Sheriff untouched on the backside. The Galio is now coming in. Do they have enough damage to start picking up these kills? That is 1 cash out. Going through, that's 2! They don't even need a team fight comp. They just wait for Vitality to mess it up, and they're happy to clean sweep through.
Oh, Sheriff picks himself up a juicy double kill off the back of that fight. He's now 3-4-2, and he is rolling in the money. He wants to build up a little bit more as they make their way towards the Baron.
What a turn from H2K. The early game, I didn't know how well they could do without a solid early game. Kikis, though, has to try to contest. Smittyj, no hesitation to burn the summoner spell. 6K and dropping Vedius. 5K getting lower. Baron on the cards. Attila needs to respect the Draven. 1 axe to be all cakes.
How does he get it?
That's the wall he wants to go in. Are they going to take it?
Oh, no!
On the wrong side. Oh, H2K, they're laughing because that one's a freebie.
Here comes the TP, though. They're pretty low on H2K.
You can't walk into that Ryze. Bye. That's a shutdown. H2K now running. Cabo, though, has to try to clean up some kills. At least 1 member has gone out. Draven has gone to safety. He's going to be happy to spend, but Promisq is the sacrificial catfish as they go for that retreat. Jactroll is next. Can't imagine him making his way out of this one. Tries just a little bit longer. The dash is there, but it's not enough still. After everything, H2K get the Baron and they take the fight. Yeah, Vitality get the cleanup, but that is the consolation prize.
Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, we got a game on our hands now because things are looking pretty one-sided for Vitality for the majority of the early game. They were constantly finding a lot of kills. They were dictating the pace of the game. They had a huge tower advantage, but a single fight off the back of Sheriff returning to the roster. H2K now in full power find themselves a big win, and are now looking to contest back, create the upset win against Vitality.
Let's remind everyone what Draven's items were before the Baron play in the double kill.
BF Sword.
BF Sword, Bloodthirster boots. He just got Pickaxe Zeal on that back. Pretty dirty, and now we can see this.
It's beautiful.
With the This is what you guys wanted. I know you
go.
didn't know that, but that's what you needed right
now
there.
This is the follow-up. So Jactroll fails his engage because of a good, it wasn't even a flash from the Ryze. He just ends up knocking him out. Oh, there's more kills.
Oh.
Or not.
Back it out.
Where's the Draven? Where's the Ryze? Look at the side lanes.
And this is quintessential Vitality, still so confident to make the play, to put H2K in a place where they have to make the decision. Are they going to back, or are they going to keep pushing forward? Vitality are set up to break an inhibitor line. The Hex Flash is going to take him over the wall. Jactroll is threatening. He says, let's go, boys. He knows that Gnar is sleepy. He's ready to force the fight. And H2K, they're not going to take it. They're just going to give up the inhibitor.
So you can't really split push with the Draven because he's one of your primary wave clear tools. And with him gone, he might now die.
Pulverize, the flash in, the triple taunt, but no, Promisq is able to save a Sheriff. Now flashing out to safety, just barely able to make it out. Attila on a rampage. Ryze has gone back probably at the worst possible time because there was nothing else for Vitality to take. Ryze, one more coming in. Maybe this is the fight for them, but they're just retreating. Smittyj, he sees it. He feels it. There's blood in this man's eyes. He wants to double jump into this team, but he's not going to get the chance. Looking to throw down the wall. It's going to get locked up. Kikis is there as well. Throws one back. Now leaps out to safety. It looks like they're just continuing to fight for some reason, but I don't think they have the advantage. Kikis is untouched on the backside. He's going to start cleaning up. Draven is split pushing. It is a bloodbath. It is an absolute mess. Both teams keep pushing Draven forth.
Oh no, he's not going to. He's going to back off. Oh, I feel like he could have gone for that. But okay, so in the aftermath, Vitality got a lot of kills. H2K, not as many kills. Vitality secured an inhibitor. H2K did not. They did get some turrets though. We now get to see the gold swing, which, I mean, as you can see from the various peaks and troughs, we've built a picturesque mountain range because there's so many up and downs that it's just off the back of H2K finding a lot of good fights, a couple of poor decisions.
Yes.
And
that side on the right for my Americans we'll call the Grand Canyon.
Yes.
Also known as the Giant Baron Throw. But well played from H2K. They are going toe-to-toe with Vitality, and this is a surprise.
So this is the end of the fight, though, because we've already seen Tahm Kench die. This is when Smittyj tries to overextend and get a couple kills, and then he's like, hey, we killed the support, that's great. And then Vitality's like, yeah, but we outnumber you, and we can just keep going for this fight. Really good wall there from Kikis to cut off the escape route, and it just means more kills go in the hands of Vitality. Now, I feel Sheriff could have secured himself the inhibitor.
Yeah.
But he decided to play it safe. He goes back to base, catches the farm. Now he has the rapid fire cannon working towards that Infinity Edge up next. And once he gets it, he will hurt. That's kind of what Draven does. That's his kind of thing. The more swords he has, the more damage he does, which is great. But let's just kind of take a holistic view of this right now.
One sec, it is 25 minutes and 29 seconds, and as everyone knows, that means it's the Dark Harvest check-in time. Sponsored by me. We're going to have
Drakos.
It's 170 stacks, so 170 extra damage after killing either a champion or a minion. And keep in mind, you can just proc this endlessly. There's no immediate cooldown on this ability, so if Misfortune kills one person with the first Dark Harvest, she gets it again to kill the next person. So Draven is scary. Misfortune also kind of scary at this point in the game.
Yes, and you look at how much armor is on the side of H2K, that's not a lot. Which means that bullet time and the... and pretty much her damage in general really does hurt. So let's see how she does. Now Smittyj gets engaged.
Taken out Smittyj. That is a very mini Gnar. Promisq is going to have to accept his fate. Tries to thick skin it up, but is taken out. Dark Harvest reset. Attila going to go in with the fatty auto attack, but Sejuani passive there to block it out. Now Vitality just going to look to break another inhibitor tower. This is the confidence from this style of composition. When you have it run by Vitality, they do not hesitate to make these engages happen, and a very even game becomes a very Vitality-favored game in an instant.
Yeah, it was a little shaky at times, but they group up once again, they force another fight, they pick off Smittyj in his mini Gnar form, and now they have their eyes set on the win.
They are just going to walk it in. 26 minutes, very back and forth. Vitality looks like they might just end it here. Sheriff, can he really approach? Alti does find a purchase on there, but not going to be able to get anything else. One tower's been taken down. Kikis left off to the side. Selfie wants to take him down. Jactroll left low. Now turning and burning as Sheriff manages to get that first catch out. Running forward, Jiizuke wants to turn back. He wants to make sure that his team is safe, stopping the Realm Warp in the meantime. He is a hero for the Vitality lineup, but it does mean giving over another kill. Here comes the Tahm Kench. Sheriff now running Cabo. As fast out as he can. Another shutdown comes through. H2K, what can they get after this? The kills don't mean much if they can't find anything else.
Oof. Vitality. I was just about to say, oh, they clean things up towards the end of the game. They're about to secure a win. And then, no! H2K respawn. Selfie gets a huge chunk of damage down onto Kikis. Jactroll, once again, sitting underneath those turrets, allows Sheriff to just shred through his HP bar. And even though Promisq is sitting at 0-7-7, he has died a lot, but he's also been pivotal in helping the team chase down the opposition and keeping that crucial AD carry Sheriff alive. So let's have a look back at how this all played out. Note here, Sheriff is alive, Selfie is alive. Things looking dire, but a good Sejuani ult from Jactroll combined with the Selfie getting onto Kikis and just chunking through him. Look at how much passive damage Jactroll just takes.
And the thing I like here is Selfie playing the outskirts. You can see Jactroll ready to go for the engage, but the slow on the Sejuani ult denies it Vedius, and Jiizuke sadly thinks he's going to save the day here, but oh, lo and behold, here comes a catfish. There goes a Gnar with the power to chase everybody down, so Cabo's going to drop as well. And overall, feels like Vitality are very much in control here. They can just look to end if they are able to grab this Baron. The question is, how much can H2K contest?
So look at how much damage has been done throughout the entire game. Sheriff is really up there in the damage numbers, and he's continuing to stack that as he finds Jactroll.
Jactroll now needs to back off. They have to be careful there. Double up. Not going to hit anybody else. Jactroll ready for the play. They're just going to go for it. Tahm is going to make it. Gnar is there. I don't think they have enough. The members are simply too tanky. Attila grabs a kill as well. They want to get it out. I don't think they have enough. Cutting it down. It may not be clean. It may not be pretty. But a win is a win as Vitality come out on top.
H2K did not want to give up the Baron. Vitality saw a free pass to a win, and they ran straight towards the Nexus and end up finding it. Whew, shaky game there from Vitality, though. Couple of fights definitely did not go the way that they would have liked. H2K once again showing their bravado and showing that they're not completely out of the league just yet. Even though they might not be able to qualify for playoffs, they are definitely not an opponent that you can afford to underestimate.
And you know, everybody who has H2K on their schedule, at some point in the season, they're like, ooh, this is nice. I like it. This is at the end of the season. We'll close it out simple. And now they watch some of these games where H2K is on the cusp of winning, and they go, I don't want to be the team that loses again. Vitality not going to be that team today, continuing to advance up. Might need to clean it up for next week, as you mentioned, because their schedule only gets harder.
It's clean up for next week.
At least they're ending the week with the win. At least it's the 1-1. They do lock playoffs here, which is an important point to be at.
Yes, yes, they do. Securing a spot in playoffs is valuable. Seeding is still all up in the air. You guys at home have seen how close the standings are between our top 6 teams. The 6th place spot is yet to be determined, but that will likely be updated throughout the day and perhaps next week as well. But what an exciting game one to start the day off. We thought it was going to be a clean sweep from Vitality, but some really great plays from Sheriff. Selfie coming out clutch in some pivotal moments. And H2K overall fighting back best they can to pull the game back. But unfortunately, the Group 5 fight was too strong from Vitality.
It very much was. And you can see Vitality are confident running these style compositions. Misfortune doing a lot of damage in those fights. Draven, I think, the surprise standout for H2K. Him, the kind of the benefactor of a lot of those well-played team fights, Vedius.
Yep.
Overall, though, Kikis feels like he's back on form. Vitality as a team may have been shaky, but Jactroll was a monster still in the early game, making plays, overstepped once or twice.
I mean, so I wrote in my notes for yesterday's game that Jactroll is my biggest wild card of the team, and I feel like today is a perfect example as to why. He makes some really good plays happen, and his engages can be game-changing, but also, he makes some really questionable decisions.
I love it. More supports like this, and now we got Hillisang.
He was like Hillisang, yes. He's that coin flip support where you never really know if he's going to win you the game or cost you the game.
We're teasing you with these highlight reels, but this is what I'm talking about when I say, like, these moments, bam, double knockup, so good. Now, you can say there's the moments where he threw in, messed up the combo, died, and lost his team the fight, but there's also these moments in the early game where he gets the dive started, where he doesn't let the Draven interrupt stop him, and those are the moments.
We skip all those moments, and we just go to these end moments where it's Jactroll, again, setting up his team very nicely. This is the kind of wombo combo they wanted. We never quite get that beautiful 5-man wombo combo in pro play because everyone is so aware of it. But one day it'll happen. Once again, one day we will get to see that 3K Elo Shockwave live in action.
I want to see it.
I mean, we saw it last week. We saw it last week from Blank.
It's very true. Well, Shock's officially going to be joined by Yamato Cannon after the break. That's ahead of Unicorns of Love versus Rocket, which is our next match. And of course, if you guys want your favorite player to win player of the game, you do need to head over to @eSports on Twitter and vote. We've limited your options to Kikis, Jiizuke, and Attila.
You got to go to Twitter, though. You have to physically
go. Twitter.com. It's the place. Well, for more on Vitality's win, let's check in with Lore and their support, Jactroll.
Thank you very much, Drakos. Vitality coming back today and bouncing from yesterday with a solid and controlled win here. So what was your mindset coming on stage today, especially against H2K?
We treated H2K like every other team. It doesn't matter if we would play against SKT or Fnatic or whoever else. Every win matters. So we were really focused coming into the game. And we performed really well.
Well, you still managed to lose some fights during mid-game, even though you had a team fight, hard engage composition. So how did that happen?
To be honest, my engage was just boosted on the mid lane. That's why we lost Nashor. But I think my other parts of the game compensated a bit. But it was pretty dangerous when we lost that Nashor.
Yeah, and with this one, you made it to playoff. Now you also made it to playoff during spring. You finished 4th in the standings. So what are your expectations this time?
I can tell you my goal, and goal is always to win the split. It's not going to be easy, of course, but better to aim high rather than aim low and achieve that. I think we have pretty good shot this year to win the whole thing, because Kikis brings a lot of new things towards the team.